Have you ever dreamed of an epic adventure, crossing through 10 completely different countries, all in one single seamless trip? Well, hold on, because we're about to dive into a huge shift in travel that's turning Southeast Asia, one of the most diverse places on the planet, into exactly that, one massive, unified destination.
Just picture it. One minute you're wandering through the ancient temples of Cambodia, the next you're navigating the futuristic streets of Singapore, and then you're kicking back on a perfect beach in the Philippines. And you're doing it all with the ease of traveling within just one country. Sounds like a fantasy, right? Well, it's actually happening, and it's happening right now.
We are, of course, talking about Southeast Asia. For decades, this region has been a total magnet for travelers. It's home to 10 incredible nations, and each one has its own unique vibe, its own deep history, and its own stunning natural wonders. But, for the longest time, trying to stitch together a multi-country trip here was, well, a logistical headache. You were juggling different visa rules, trying to figure out disconnected transportation systems, and dealing with tricky border crossings. It meant that all these amazing experiences often felt worlds apart. That is, until a real game-changing idea started to brew.
So, what was the catalyst? What made this all possible? It comes down to something called the AEC. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't some boring policy document. You should think of it more like an epic team-up, a collaboration between these 10 nations to completely change how they work together.
So the AEC, which stands for the ASEAN Economic Community, officially kicked off back in 2015. Now, its main goal was all about economics, creating a single market where goods, services, and people could move around way more freely. But here's the cool part. A fantastic side effect of this big economic plan was a total revolution for tourism.
The whole thing is really built on four main pillars. But for us travelers, that first one, creating a single market, is everything. That's the engine that's making border crossings easier and connecting flights and trains. It's kind of amazing. By focusing on these big economic goals, these countries basically stumbled into building a paradise for tourists.
Okay, so enough with the economic jargon, right? What does all this actually mean for your travel plans?
Well, it changes pretty much everything, and all for the better.
Let's do a quick before and after. Before, you were wrestling with complicated, sometimes stressful border crossings. Now, customs and visa rules are getting way more streamlined. That old fragmented transport system is being replaced with integrated highways, new rail lines, and tons of new flight routes. And the result? That epic, multi-country adventure is no longer a logistical nightmare. It's something you can actually book tomorrow.
But this is so much more than just making the travel part easier. I mean, that's great, but the real magic is what happens when easier travel leads to deeper cultural connections. It stops being just about seeing the sights and becomes more about actually experiencing the vibrant, living pulse of the entire region.
I mean, think about it. You could genuinely plan a trip around Thailand's massive Songkran Water Festival, then just hop over to Malaysia to witness the incredible devotion of Thaipusam, and maybe even wrap things up with the high-speed energy of the Singapore Grand Prix. These once separate events are all becoming part of one giant, interconnected cultural calendar.
And this whole transformation isn't just about making it easier to get from point A to point B. It's also about building a future of travel that's smarter and greener, with a huge emphasis on tech and sustainability.
The digital revolution is a massive part of this story. Seriously, the most powerful tool for this new era of travel is probably in your pocket right now. Your phone has become your all-in-one guide. We're talking mobile apps for booking, for navigation, and even for real-time translation that just tear down those final communication barriers. It makes independent travel easier than it has ever been.
And this is absolutely crucial. All this new growth is being guided by a real commitment to sustainability. The region is actively pushing ecotourism to protect its incredible natural landscapes, they're championing community-based projects, and they're working hard to preserve their amazing cultural heritage. It's all about growing tourism the right way.
And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. The goal is to build a type of tourism that actually helps and empowers local people, protecting the very culture and nature that we all travel there to see in the first place. It's a huge shift from just taking to creating a truly beneficial exchange for everyone.
So, where does this grand experiment go from here? Well, the journey of integration is definitely still a work in progress, with some really exciting opportunities and some pretty big challenges still on the horizon.
One of the coolest trends we're seeing is the rise of these amazing emerging destinations. As the infrastructure gets better and better, travelers can finally venture beyond the usual tourist spots. We're talking about discovering hidden temples in Cambodia, far from Angkor Wat,
finding those island paradises in the Philippines, or just chilling out in serene river communities in Laos. The entire map is opening up.
Of course, let's be realistic. The road ahead isn't perfectly paved. The region is facing some very real challenges, like making sure that all this new infrastructure doesn't end up harming fragile ecosystems, and ensuring that the money from tourism actually reaches small villages, not just the big international resorts. Balancing that growth with responsibility, that's the real key to success here.
And all of this leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. By working together to create this single, diverse, and accessible destination, is Southeast Asia actually building a blueprint for the future of travel all around the world? A future where borders become less about being barriers and more about being bridges.